Our new group of verbs for this unit are RE verbs. These are simply verbs where the infinitive ends in the letters RE, and they'll use a different set of endings compared to ER verbs. However, these are all still regular verbs. They're still going to conjugate using our exact same pattern. We simply have a different set of endings. You have 4 RE verbs that you're going to be held responsible for this semester before the final exam. You have the verb to wait for, attendre. So attendre can be a tricky one. A lot of students will tend to tell me it means to attend, but it does not. It means to wait for. This is a false cognate. The other trick to attendre is that the word for is already in the verb. So for example, if I'm waiting for Bob, j'attends Bob. There's not a separate word in between our verb and whatever person or thing it is we're waiting for. Next we have the verb perdre, which means to lose. It could mean to lose an item, to lose a sports game. Anything that you lose in English, we can use perdre. To return, rendre. This works best if you're returning an item. So if I'm returning graded papers, or if you're returning a library book. You can technically use it to mean to return, like to return to a place, like I'm returning home. But there are far better verbs for that we're going to learn later on in the school year. So let's definitely just stick to using this to return an item. And then finally we have the verb répondre. So répondre is a pretty easy one to remember because it looks a lot like the English word respond. Okay, and that's exactly what it means, to answer or to respond to something. When we conjugate these, as stated, they're all regular verbs, so we're going to follow the same 2 steps that we follow for every single regular verb. We're going to drop the last 2 letters to find the stem. So in this case, get rid of the RE to find the stem, which is the beginning of every single one of our 6 conjugations. That's how we know which infinitive it is we're conjugating. From there, we have to make each one of those match the subject by adding the endings. This is the only part that's any different between our 3 main verb groups. We had ER verb endings, E, ES, E, ONS, EZ, ENT, and now we have RE verb endings, which are S, nothing, ONS, EZ, ENT. You'll note that the plural endings are the exact same for ER verbs and RE verbs. EESE, ONS, EZ, ENT. SS, nothing, ONS, EZ, ENT. The only thing that's any different is je, tu, and il, elle, on. S, and then no ending at all. So let's look at this in action. If we conjugate the verb rendre, to return, the very first thing we have to do is find our stem. Get rid of the last 2 letters, the RE, to find the stem rend, R-E-N-D. This is going to be the very first part of every single one of our verb conjugations. It's the unbolded part in your verb boxes. From here, we have to make this agree with every single one of our subject pronouns, so we add the RE verb endings. S, no ending, ONS, EZ, ENT. Yep, that means il, elle, on. The stem is the verb. There's no ending for il, elle, on in an RE verb. This also means it's the only one that's going to sound a little bit different out of those 4 that almost always sound the same, because it may or may not end in a careful letter. So we have je rende, because our last letter is S, which is not a careful letter, so now we hear the D, je rende, tu rendes, ils, elles ont rond. D is now the last letter of that verb conjugation, and D is not a careful letter. So we hear a very small difference. Je rende, tu rendes, il, elles ont rond. Nous rendons, vous rendez, ils, elles rendent. The je, tu, and il, elles pluriel will still sound the exact same because we never pronounce our ENTs on the ends of verbs. ENT is a silent ending, and S is not a careful letter, so we don't say it. Je rende, tu rendes, il, elles rendent. However, now il, elles ont will sound just barely different, rend, and nous rendons, vous rendez always sounded different. If we look at another example, the verb perdre, to lose, drop your RE to find your stem, add S, nothing, ONS, easy, ENT. Je perdre, tu perds, il, elles ont perd, nous perdons, vous perdez, il, elles perdent.